So we're going to do data today. In the last 2 years, I would say I've become really obsessed with data. I've always been good at it because I'm good at maths and, my science background makes you understand a lot about data. But the last 2 years I've become obsessed, and it's like when you see how it all clicks together, it makes scaling a business from marketing standpoint very easy because you just it's very easy to see the gaps, right? Like right now, if you guys aren't getting the results you want. For example, someone this week just made 50 sales in their first week. Some of you are probably like, Rudy, I would love to make 50 sales. I'm not there yet. Why? So if you're like saying, well, why aren't I doing that? It's probably a gap somewhere, right, in your process or your business. So understanding the data could give you that answer without you kind of questioning, why does this happen? Or why can they get 50 sales? Why can't I? And ultimately, but in a year's time, that's not always going to be the case, right? So I want to empower you guys as business owners to make those decisions, to see those gaps, and to obviously course correct as needed. Okay, and thanks. So why is data and tracking so important, right? Why can it make or break your business? It's very important to understand that without understanding the data, you're kind of trying to grow a business blind, right? Because you don't really know, like I said, where the gaps are. You don't know how to scale. You don't know what levers to pull to really ramp up growth, right? And once the data becomes very clear to you, it's very easy to go, okay, this is an area of opportunity here. This is an area that I put a lot of time in and I don't make good return on money, so I should probably get rid of that. So you can make more smart, conscious decisions based off the data, right? People fall into different phases, okay? And I'll go through that in a second. So you might think, well, really, data is very broad. What do I need to learn, okay? So I'm going to start off going through key metrics, okay? But before I do, let me actually go through the phases first so you guys can understand this, okay? Example phases of where you're from, and I just made it up, right? There's no like true phase, but I think phase one is you don't understand the data at all. Phase two is you understand the numbers, which I'm going to, you understand the key metrics and those numbers, okay? I'm going to go through, by the end of today, you should be at phase one and into phase two already, okay? That's the idea. So by the end of today, we're at phase two. So phase one is don't understand data at all. Phase two is you understand the numbers and the key metrics, but you're not like doing much with it, okay? Phase three is, in my opinion, is you have the key metrics, you understand the numbers and how they correlate and connect to each other, and you're actually making decisions with it, right? Phase four is not only are you like getting all the numbers, I would say phase four is like the numbers are almost automated. So you have some sort of spreadsheet or memo or report or Google Analytics or dashboard where you can see them all, right? So it's actually really easy to like make decisions, and you're constantly every day or every week making decisions, right? So it's almost like the autonomous phase, right? It's like, imagine basketball. It's like my favorite sport. You learn to play it, and then like eventually you get so good that you're dribbling behind your back through your legs without thinking about it, right? So that's what like phase four, okay, is more like advanced. And then phase five is what I would say eventually where you want to be. It's probably where like I am now, is not only do you have all of the first four phases, you have a team, right? Or people trained that also understand it and can be doing some of it for you, okay? And I guess phase six is you have nothing to do with it and it's all happening and you're not even involved in the business, okay? So it's hard to get to 5 and 6. You're probably nearer like $1 million mark plus when you're at that level. I mean, some businesses are at like 10 or 20 million and they're still not at that level. They've kind of like brute force their way there with a cool product, a unique product, work ethic, time. But if you want to get to $1 million in revenue or $10 million in revenue faster, I guarantee you get into phase four as fast as you can, where you understand the data, you understand the numbers, you know how to gather those numbers, and you're making actionable decisions, and you have some sort of dashboard. That's phase four, right? At least within the first year or half a year, because you would be miles ahead of every entrepreneur. Like most entrepreneurs, like I said, would take 5 years. I work with some clients on my agency that pay 15 grand a month. To me, they're already at like 5 or 10 million and they're not even at phase 4, right? They could be making way more if they were. So just trying to get you guys ahead of the game. Does that make sense on all the, just type the number, what phase you're in. We did this last week, but just so new people are in here. What phase do you think you guys are in right now? Phase 1, have no clue. Phase 2, you understand the key metrics and numbers. Phase 3, you understand them, but actually make decisions off them. And phase 4 is like, not only do you understand them, make decisions, but you actually have like dashboards and reports to see them. Okay, so most of you are 1 or 2. Trust me, once you get to 3, it's a game changer because you can pull them. And then long-term 4 is better because it's like you're getting the dashboard or report every day or week, right? But 3 is good enough for most of you now, as long as you're proactively doing it weekly. So 1, 2, some of you are between 2 and 3. So someone asked what was phase 3 again. I would say, yeah, let me write it just so it's easier. Data phases. So phase 1, no clue, okay? Phase 2, understand key metrics. Phase 3, key metrics, can pull the data and starts to make decisions. You guys can see my screen, right? Yeah. Phase 4 is key metrics in our report, like weekly / daily, and constant decisions being made based on it, right? And then phase 5 is other staff doing report plus decisions, okay? So there you go. So that makes sense. So yeah, most of you phase 1, phase 2. So by the end of today, you'll at least be in phase 2. And then I'm gonna do some more trainings on this over the 16 weeks. Phase 3 is the big one, right? If you can get into phase 3 here, where you can, let me highlight it. So if you can get into this one where you understand the key metrics, you can pull the data, and then you can actually start to make some informed decisions based on them, then you're going to be in a good spot. Someone just asked, are key metrics beyond profit and loss? Yes, they are. So that's what today is, okay? All right, so what's actually important, right? It's very easy to get overwhelmed with all the data. That's why I'm trying to do this training for you guys. You don't need to focus on everything. There's a few that like move the needle, right? Which I'm going to go into. And this is kind of the 80-20 rule of that, okay? So, you know, obvious metrics you guys should all be tracking. This is probably like phase 1. I mean, some people maybe don't even track this, but phase 1 would be you're doing, you know, total sales. I'll even write this here. So you're doing like total sales, revenue, and then hopefully figuring out your profit, right? So if you spend $1,000 on ads, you make $1,500 back. Your total sales is $1,500, and then your profit would be $500, right? So I would probably say spend would be another one that you guys are probably doing right now. So most of you are probably here right now or around here. Okay, and then this is phase 2, okay? So right here, this is simple. So the not so obvious metrics, okay? But these are what you really want to track, okay? So you want to look at how many buyers you get in a day. So we call it front end because we're looking at like distinguishing between front end, like new people and people buying stuff on our back end. But I would say, honestly, for you, it's mainly buyers because you might not have a ton of back end stuff. CPA, so cost per acquisition, okay? So CPA, cost per acquisition. So I'll just put it so it's simple for you guys. How much per sale, okay? So if you make, write this down, guys, because this is how you do these maths, okay? So CPA is if you make, so say you get 10 buyers, right? And you spend $700 to get 10 buyers. Your CPA is $70, okay? So it's very simple maths. 10 buyers, how much did you spend to acquire those people? Then divide it by the number of buyers, okay? So make sure that's written down. Then AOV is revenue per sale, okay? So same analogy, we've got 10 buyers, right? our AOV, say we sell a $50 product, but we have upsells. A couple of them buy a $50 upsell. One of them buys a $100 upsell. One of them buys 4 products, okay? So the way you work this out is total revenue divided by buyers, right? So say we spent 700, 10 buyers. We knew it was a $70 CPA, cost per sale. But for those 10 buyers, we made 1,000. So for those 10 buyers, we made $1,000 back, right? What would our AOV be? Anyone know? Type it in chat. So 10 buyers, $1,000 in revenue. What's the AOV? $100. Yeah, good. So $100, okay? And then ROAS is return on ad spend, right? So with this analogy for ROAS, we spent $700. We made $1,000 back. So what was our return, right? Off the top of my head, it's like 1.3 or 1.4 or something, okay? So ROAS always wants to be, ideally, 1.0 or above, right? So if we put $1,000 in, get $1,000 back, we're at a 1 ROAS, okay? Ideally, you know, if we put $500 in, get $1,000 back, we're at a 2 ROAS, okay? So it's ROAS or ROI, okay? Some people might call it ROI. So conversion rate. So SP means sales page. I'll just put conversion rate to keep it simple. So whenever you're looking at conversion rate, let's always judge it based on sales page. Someone actually asked me this in the Diamond group the other day. They said, how's sales page conversion rate calculated? Is it like add to carts or what? So the way we would calculate it in the industry, most people at least, is write this down again, everyone. So conversion rate is clicks to the sales page versus amount of sales, okay? So clicks, website clicks to the sales page. It'll show you it in ClickFunnels or Facebook ads, how many clicks on the sales page versus total sales, okay? Nothing else, not add to carts or anything like that. Not upsells, you don't count those, it's just front end sales, right? So again, if we have 100 people click the page and 3 people buy, what's our conversion rate? Anyone know? Very simple, 3%, right? 100 clicks. Yeah, good. A lot of you are getting it. So it's very simple maths, right? If you get 1,000 clicks and 40 people buy, what's our conversion rate? 4%, right? It's very simple maths. So, and if you're not good at maths, just use Google or a calculator, okay? So you guys clear on those so far? Just type yes in chat if you're still with me. Some of you will be lost already. It's okay. Data does confuse a lot of people and it takes a while to learn, but just watch this back a few times. If you're lost already, don't worry. It'll watch it a few times, start implementing it. And then, yeah, it'll make sense, okay? So CPC, cost per click, okay? So how much did we spend per click? So if we got $100, say we got 100 clicks, sorry, we spent $200, our cost per click is $2, right? Very simple. And then we need to know that because I'll show you how these all connect, right? So say we know our cost per click in the ad manager is $2, right? So then if I'm trying to work out if a product's going to work, you can start to connect them. So I'll give you an example. It probably won't make sense to all of you yet. Some of you will kind of get this and it'll start to click. But I'm like, okay, my average, and this is how I work out all my data, and this is how I work out if my funnels will work or not, on how far away they are. So if I say, okay, well, I know I pay $2 a click on average, right? And then I'm like, my AOV is $40, right? So per 100 clicks, see if anyone can guess this. So per 100 clicks, it cost me $200. I know my AOV is $40. What would I need my conversion rate to be at to break even? It's very, like when you get it, it's very simple, but it's very powerful when you can do these sort of maths. So $200 for 100 clicks, my AOV, so per sale, I make $40. What would I need my conversion rate to be at to break even? Because once you understand how these connect, you can then have targets, right? And you launch a page, if you're way off, it's not going to work, right? Good. So someone got it. So 5%, right? So how many times, what is $40 times 5? It's $200, right? Very simple. $200 for 100 clicks, 5% conversion rate, $40 times 5 is $200. So that would give us break even, right? So you see how it's very easy to connect. And you can do it the other way. You can say, okay, well, my page conversion rate is 5%. I spend $300 to get 100 clicks, right? So what would I now need my AOV to be at? There's a different scenario. So I had a 5% conversion rate on my sales page. It cost me $300 to get 100 clicks. What would my AOV need to be? Again, it's simple math if you know it. 300, how many times would you how many sales would you need if you had a 5% conversion rate? What would the AOV need to be? So you know you're getting 100 clicks for $300, 5% conversion rate, so it means you're getting 5 sales, right? So what would you need to, what's 5 divided by $300? It's very simple. 5 divided by $300. $60, right? So you know now that you need your AOV at $60 to make that funnel work, okay? And there's lots of different equations for this, okay? And you see how this works now? So like AOV is another one. So you could go, well, if my AOV is $100, but right now my cost per click is $4 and my page only converts at 2%, then $4 cost per click, it means per 100 clicks, I'm paying $400, right? $4 cost per click, $400 for 100 clicks, okay? So that's a lot, right? That means at $400, 100 clicks, okay? If your AOV is say $100 and you have a 2% conversion rate, you'd only make $200 back, right? So it's like, well, I would need a 4% conversion rate to get this funnel break even. However, remember, there's lots of ways to do it. You can say, maybe I don't. Maybe I only need a 2% conversion rate, but I now need my AOV to be $200. 2 times 200, $400, right? So once you know your cost per click and you start to gauge your AOV and your conversion rate, you can start to play with them, right? Because if you know your cost per click is $1.50 per 100, $150 in spend, then you just got to figure out what your AOV and conversion rate is and start lifting them up, right? Sometimes you have to lift conversion rate a lot because it's low. Sometimes AOV is really low, conversion rate's high, and you have to lift AOV. And the reason this is so important, guys, is if you have a 5% conversion rate and the cost per click is whatever, and it's still not profitable, you're probably not going to get higher than a 5% conversion rate to cold traffic. So maybe the weakness is in the AOV, okay? And now if you start to understand all these maths and stats, you'll know, like, okay, Rudy said 5% conversion rate on a sales page is great. So why isn't my funnel working? Well, it must be my AOV. If my AOV is only $20, maybe I need my AOV at $40, and then all of a sudden my funnel would work again, right? So a lot of the times, sometimes your funnel's many steps off. Conversion rate's bad, add to cart rate's bad, AOV is bad, happens, right? But most of the time it's just one thing that's like really bad, you fix it and it kind of elevates you very fast, okay? And you'll start to learn, that's phase 3, right? Phase 3 is getting the numbers, but then understanding how to take actionable steps based off it, okay? So EPC, so earnings per click, okay? So this is a cool number because once you know, I would say these ones here, guys, are like the main ones, okay? These top ones here in green. These are like bonus ones, okay? So earnings per click, once you know what your earnings per click is, it kind of like, you can just look at cost per click and earnings per click, right? So earnings per click, you work out very simply. Say for, you get 100 clicks to your funnel and you make $200. What is your earnings per click? Any ideas? So 100 clicks to the website and you make $200. How much did you earn per click? $2. Easy, right? Same as cost per click. Cost per click is clicks versus spend. Earnings per click is clicks versus revenue. So why are these important? Well, 2 very simple numbers you need to know one day is how much is my cost per click, how much is my earnings per click. My cost per click is $2, my earnings per click is $3, then wow, we can just scale, right? It's great. Every click we get, I spend 2 and I make 3 back. Who wouldn't want to do that? Now, if my cost per click is $1.50, but my EPC, my earnings per click, is only $1, we're losing money. We're losing 50 cents every sale, right? So we don't want to scale just yet. We want to fix some things, get my EPC up to $1.50, or get my CPC down to $1. You see how you have multiple levers, right? You might want to boost EPC, or just get better ads, or target differently to get the cost per click down to $1. Now, if our EPC was $1, cost per click was $1.50, but we get our cost per click down to $1, what happens? We break even, we can scale, right? Because remember, break even's okay, because we're going to get a lot of leads, grow your list, get a lot of buyers, upsell them, like send them more stuff in the automations, do more back-end stuff, etc. Okay? So CTR is click-through rate. This one, I wouldn't worry too much about it just yet, but it's more on the ad side. So it's like how many people see the ad and click through. I'll move it to a later slide. I don't want to confuse it. So these numbers are all like big picture numbers, right? Cart abandonment rate. So that's how many people click to the cart and quit, right? If you guys have done any of my trainings, you know, or been here long enough, you'll know about 80 to 90% quit, right? At the cart level. We've discussed that a lot, okay? So if we know that and we know what the metric is, then we need to understand that and we need to optimize it. If our cart abandonment rate is 80%, so every 100 people that get to the site, for 100 people that go to the site and then click to the cart page, so 100 people per cart page, if 80 of them quit, right, we get 20 buy, right? So 100 people to the cart, 80% abandonment rate, so 80 would quit, 20 would buy. Okay, that's a pretty good number. That's good. That's industry, like in the industry, that's good. So you wouldn't want to spend the next 2 months of your life optimizing the cart page, right? The weakness is somewhere else. Maybe the ads, maybe the conversion rate, maybe the AOV, okay? But you don't know that until you know all this data, right? Now, what if your cart abandonment rate was 92%? So every 100 people that went to the cart page, 92 of them quit, only 8 of them bought. Wow, that's a major gap. You guys might spend all day on ads and emails and optimizing the sales page when the answer is like so obvious in front of you. One little new cart page, or adding a testimonial and a guarantee on the cart page, or making it look better on mobile could transform your whole business. And you wouldn't ever know if you didn't understand the data. You guys see how important it is when you kind of can spot these things really fast? That's why people pay like me and top marketers a lot of money, because we can come into a business in an hour and they think we're like working some voodoo magic, but we're not. We're just like looking at the data and going, fix that, add an upsell here, fix the cart page, and boom, right? So, and cart abandonment rate is very easy. ClickFunnels shows you how many clicks you got to the page, how many click to the cart page, right? So if you get 300 on the page, the next go to the cart page, and then how many buy. So it's just cart page versus how many buy, right? But you can also look how many got to the sales page and went to the cart page. That's another number. I don't even have that here. That's like click-through rate to the cart page, okay? But that might be a big gap too. Maybe only every 100 people that comes to the page, only 3 of them click to the cart page. Maybe it's like, well, the cart button's hidden too low, no one can see it, the copy isn't good enough, maybe move it higher. That's a little more advanced, that one, so that's why I didn't include it here, but okay. And then daily ad spend's an obvious one, right? How much do we spend? Okay, we want total revenue. It's kind of on here now, ad spend, I put it on that one, so I'll get it off here. Okay, so before we get to the new slide, next slide, everyone go in chat, type a number out of 10 of how lost and confused you are already, okay? 10 is very lost and confused, you don't know where you are in the world, or a 1 is very good. You're kind of on top of it, this makes perfect sense. A 4 or 5 is like you get it, but it's not like kind of get it, but it's not, you couldn't do it yet. Just so I have a gauge. Don't be afraid if you're 10s. I just want to know so I can kind of tone it down. Or okay, good. Most of you are sub 5, so that's good. 20 minutes. Good. Okay, so there's your basic metrics. Now, high ticket funnels. A lot of you I know on here are coaches. And yeah, this is all recorded. and it will go in the dashboard. You want to write this, you want to watch this a few times. And what I would do is like get a pen and paper, and then I would go in and I would write, like, just make up stats. Go with, okay, 100 clicks, $2 a click. What's my conversion rate? Well, $2, 100, $2, right? 100 clicks, sorry, $200 in spend, $2 click. Just write like different scenarios. If my AOV is $50 and I get 5 sales, that means per 5 sales. So if I had a 5% conversion rate, it'd be $300. So that means if I make $300 per 100 clicks, I can pay $3 per click on Facebook. Now you already know. So you know how some of you, a lot of you come in the Facebook group and you say to me on the Facebook group, you go, Rudy, how do I know if it's even successful, right? So if you understand this, you wouldn't even need to ask, because you'd know, well, my cost per click on average after a week's $2. So I know everything I need to know now. If it's a $2 click, 100 clicks is $200, right? Very simple. So if my AOV is $50, I just need 4 sales per 100 clicks. So I need a 4% conversion rate and I'm break even. That's all my metrics done right away. That's what I do, you know, when I ask for stats and stuff. That's kind of how my mind works. So high ticket funnels can become a little more complex because what you want to be looking at is back-end stats too, right? You want to look at how many people booked a call, how many showed up, how many closed, are the sales team or yourself closing enough, right? So I won't spend too long on this because most of you are more on the front end for now, but it is important for any of you coaches, consultants, people doing calls, right? So if you get, say you get 20, and all the maths are the same, right? So say I get 20 phone calls, okay? And then 15 show up. What is my show up rate? 20 phone calls booked, 15 show up. 75%, right? I lost 5 people of 20, 75%. 25% didn't show, okay? Now, if 15 people showed up and I closed 3 of them, what's my close rate? Okay, it's 20%, right? 3 into 15, okay? So again, it's a good number to know. So just, you know, they're the kind of key metrics for high ticket. If you're not doing it right now, don't worry about it. If you are doing it, make sure you're logging it, okay? Total people that book, total people that show up, how many do you close, okay? And then you can, from here, also another important number is, I'll add this here actually. I forgot to add this when I was doing it. Revenue per call. So if I spend, say not spend, if I made, that's another number, spend, like cost per call, okay? I'll add that too. Okay, so revenue per call. So I use that same analogy. 20 people booked, 15 turned up, I closed 3, right? 3 people closed. Now, if I charge $1,000, I made $3,000. What is my revenue per call? Anyone work it out? Again, it's simple when you understand it. Had 15 people on the call and I made $3,000. Okay, good. $200, right? What's 200? And always verify your numbers. Reverse it. What's 200 times 15, everyone? 200 times 15. $3,000, right? Exactly. So you can reverse engineer it. So you now know per phone call that shows up, I make $200. And now, guess what? The next part, the call, cost per call. Say you're running Facebook ads and it costs you $100 per call to get a call booked in. Would you want to keep scaling that? Cost you $100 to get a phone call on Facebook, and on average you make $200 back per phone call. Who would not spend $5,000 a day to do that? Anyone would not spend $5,000 a day? If so, you're crazy. You should spend millions, doubling your money on day one, right? And you just hire a sales team eventually if you got so many calls, right? That's great. If you spend $100, get $200 back, you do that all day. Have a sales team of 50 people, you know, doing 100 calls a day and just scale it, right? And obviously, if, you know, people are saying, well, sales team normally take 10%. So if they took 10% of $200, they take $20 per call on average, then you're still making $80, right? So you would still scale that. That would be a good number. And high ticket, you tend to get even better ROAS. Like you might get 300, you might make $300 per call, and only spend $100, right? So you get 3 times, okay? So, and someone said, Rudy, nothing's constant. These values vary. Yeah, I mean, data changes all the time. Remember what I said on phase 2 and 3 and 4, rechecking the stats every week, every day. But what you will get is like KPIs, right? So after a couple of months of running it, you'll have baselines, okay? So like revenue per call here for high ticket, for example, sure, it's going to change over time, but you would roughly know I make $300 to $400 per call, right? Same with AOV. Like I've ran my fitness business for 6, 7, 8 years now. I don't know how long. My AOV is like on the $19 product. It's anywhere between $35 and $40, right? And ad spend, sure. CPA, cost per acquisition, every day it's going to change, but you should have averages, okay? Data's data. All you can ever do with data is average, right? So I won't even go into this today. I don't want to, I'll probably save this for later. I don't want to confuse everyone. So email metrics, let's talk about email. So email is very important, as I talked to you guys a lot about. Email metrics, very, very important to understand these ones, okay? Because you want to look at the success of your email. So open rates, okay? Open rates, we want, let me just do one thing actually. Someone asked a good question. So someone asked on this one, what are good averages, okay? It's actually, I should have really done that here, okay? So there's no, for this, there's no average for CPA or AOV, right? Every funnel is totally different. The most important thing with CPA and AOV is AOV, average revenue per order, wants to be higher than the cost per order, okay? That's really important for you guys to understand. You want to make more money per order than it costs you, okay? Same for ROI. There's no average, okay? But anything over a 1.0 is good these days because everyone makes their money. Most people make their money on the back end. Conversion rate to cold traffic, I would say 2 to 4%, okay? That's a good metric you guys were asking. Cost per click is so hard for me to say because every industry is different. Like my fitness business is $1, but if I'm advertising to other marketers, I pay $4 to $6, okay? And again, if I want to advertise worldwide, I get people in Singapore, India, Spain, Italy, Greece, France, the US, UK, like combined. My cost per click in fitness is 40 cents. But if I advertise US, UK, Canada only, it's $1. And both of them work. It's just the dollar click, it converts much higher at 5%. The 40 cents click, it converts at 2%. If you do the maths, it's actually identical, right? 40 cents a click at $2. At 2% conversion rate, it's the same as a dollar click at 5%. It's literally identical maths, but 2 different ways to make money, okay? Earnings per click, there's no right or wrong number. It's just got to be, it wants to be higher than your cost per click, right? Makes sense? No like magic number there. It's just like AOV. So AOV wants to be higher than CPA, okay? And then obviously CPA wants to be lower than AOV, right? This one, cart abandonment rate, you want it about so basically you want it around 80%, okay? So you want 20% to complete the purchase, okay? A lot of you might have it at 90%. So if 90% quit before they buy, that's one area you could improve, okay? So I wanted to add those key metrics here. I'll do it here too. So you want 75% to show up. That was the number I gave. How many did you close? Probably 20% is a good number, okay? It could be higher, 30%. I mean, sales team might be lower, right? So sales team might be 20. You might be 20 to 30 because the owner of the brand always tends to do better, okay? Revenue per call, every industry is so different, right? So like my fitness business is like 250. And then sometimes in my business, it can be like $700, okay? And sometimes for Ty's business, it can be $100, right? Because he gets more volume. I get less volume, right? So it's going to vary. I can't really put that there, okay? Every business is different. Same here, right? I have some clients that pay $40 cost per call. I have other clients that pay $300, and they both work. It's just different industries, okay? So I can't really put a number there for that reason, okay? So I'm going to skip that one. I'll do this one on high ticket stuff later. It's too confusing now. Okay, so open rates, right? So email metrics, open rates. So open rate is very, very important, right? We want to make sure enough people are opening the email. What does that come down to? Okay, you guys list, bullet point, there's about 3 things it comes down to. So what dictates open rates? Does anyone know? Put it in the chat if you know. Headline, that's one of them. Someone wrote copy, it's just the headline because they can't see it, right? They can't see the link or anything, it's just a headline. Or subject line, okay? Deliverability is the second one, okay? And then IP health is the next one. It kind of falls under deliverability, okay? So it's basically, what I would put is headline, so headline, and then it's basically spam folder, right? / deliverability / IP health. So what I mean by IP health is if you send a lot of emails, a lot of them go to spam, everything like that. Yeah, someone put one more good one actually. It can help. Name of sender. Okay, so we split test, like we've split tested different headlines for even back in my fitness business. It would be like Mr. Moore, Rudy Moore. And then we'd send some as like my assistant or one of my staff, okay? So, but yeah, open rates, you roughly want to have an open rate of around 20%, okay? So when someone buys right away, the open rate might be 50%, right? Like when you guys signed up for this program, how many of you went and opened the email after the program? Probably like 75% of you, right? But if it's just a random promotion from a random company, the open rate might be 10 or 15 or 20%, okay? So obviously understand that buyers, when they want to get their product info, the open rate's way higher, 50%, okay? I'm talking about generic email blasts, your list, okay? It's going to be when the first couple of emails are always higher, 30%, 40%. But after you send like 20 emails and you average it, it's about 15 to 20%, okay? Make sense on that one? So, and the ways you improve it, like I said, split testing headlines. Remember I taught you guys a lot, split test headlines. Try different names eventually and make sure your IP health is good. So you're not sending tons to spam. You can actually run your email through a spam check before it sends, because if it's always going to spam, especially Gmail, then it's going to go to more and more will go to spam, which will lower the overall open rate, right? Because if you send 100 emails and 50 to spam, only 50 people are actually seeing the email, right? So if 20% open, 40% actually opened it of the ones that saw it, but your average open rate is still only 20%, okay? So click-through rate. So this is how many people read the email, they've opened it, they're reading it, and now they actually click the link to go to the website or something, okay? So click-through rate is important. This is going to vary. It can be like 2 to 10%, okay? So, you know, if it's 1 or 2, it's pretty bad. But yeah, 2 to 10%, okay? Conversion rate is going to vary, right? So conversion rate, it's going to vary depending on what you send, everything like that, okay? But it's kind of similar to a sales page. Probably going to get 2 to 5% of sales, right? Number of emails delivered. So this is something you want to check, because if you're sending out 1,000 emails, 700 of them might get delivered, which means 300 of them never even got delivered, right? And then you want to also monitor your unsubscribes or opt-outs. That should only be like 1% each time, okay? If you send to 1,000 people, 10 of them might unsubscribe, okay? And then obviously long-term, you want to look at revenue generated by email, okay? These ones are harder to get. These are like the most important 3 for like daily monitoring, okay? But you do want to try and monitor this one, which is revenue per email. For many years, I couldn't monitor this. I didn't have the tech set up and stuff, and it sucked, right? Like I would literally in my fitness business that was doing 10 grand a day, I couldn't figure out how to get it working with my tech team back then. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. but we'd send out an email and I would literally just like watch the revenue over the next 12 hours versus what it normally would be. And I would guess I made about $3,000. That's literally it. Okay. And it is hard to track. One easy way for you guys is with your funnels and your cart pages in ClickFunnels. There's a video we can shoot to show you how to do this. An easy way to do this is kind of a cheat way, but it's really good when you're starting out because it's kind of user friendly. Is say you have a funnel, right? What you guys can do is when your funnel's perfect and you're not editing it a bunch, just duplicate it 3 times. And then you'd have one for Facebook ads, one that you send on email, and one that you use on social media. And then what you can do is you can see, you know, if you send an email, use the link that's the email, right? So say it was called Rudy Fitness Challenge, you would put Rudy Fitness Challenge -E. And then you know in your own head, that's the email funnel. And you do Rudy Fitness Challenge -F, which you know is for Facebook. Rudy Fitness Challenge -S for social media, stuff you're going to post personally on your social media, right? And then you can kind of use each one as a channel, and then the revenue and the tracking is much easier to monitor. Okay, it's kind of a cheat. It's not long term because eventually you'd have dozens of funnels and then you have to update each one every time, but it's kind of a trick way to at least get pretty accurate data when you're starting out. Okay. So Facebook ads, let me show you this. Oh. Okay, so there's a lot of important columns in Facebook ads too. Let me just move all these. I got so many chats and tabs open. So if you guys follow my screen, right? So we want amounts. Obviously, you've got the campaign name. We want amount spent, purchase conversion value. Ads doesn't track upsells, which is why you might see it's like lost 15 grand, but it doesn't track our AOV and our upsells on this one. So it just tracks front end, but we know we double our front end, basically $19 becomes about 38. So if we double that number, it's break even. ROAS on the next one. So return on ad spend, again, that feeds off conversion rate, which is why it's low on here because it's not taking up our upsells. Purchases, how many sales we get. Link clicks, cost per unique purchases, so how much it costs per sale. And then the right column, we actually have conversion rate. We built like a custom formula on Facebook to track this. It's more complicated to do. You can't really do that. We have a guy that does it, but you can calculate that based off everything else, right? So if you look at unique link clicks, right? You see at the top, unique link clicks, 7,740. And then to the left of it, unique purchases is 79. If I'm analyzing that without that conversion rate column on the right, you guys can cheat and see it. But before, I didn't have that until actually more recently. So for years, I was just doing it in my head. But roughly, how many times does 80 or 79 go into 7,700? It's about 1%, right? And you can kind of do that as you go down. You can say, oh, well, 48 sales on the next one, 3,500 clicks. And you just put it in Google search bar, 3,550 divided by 48, 1.5. So you guys can calculate conversion rate right on your ad manager. Very simple, 2 seconds, okay? And if you know how many clicks you had and how much money you made, you can go and calculate AOV. If you know how many clicks you had and the amount spent, it actually shows you cost per click on here. I just don't have it, it's in the next column, but cost per click's there. But even if you didn't have it for some reason, you take amount spent and amount and the clicks, and you can work out cost per click, right? And remember EPC, earnings per click, it's very simple too. If you know how much you made and how many clicks you got, you can work out earnings per click, okay? So everything's there. CPA, if you know your conversion rate, you can just do conversion rate from total sales versus clicks. Very simple. So you guys see, type in chat yes if you can kind of see how you could now start to calculate some of these numbers just from your ad manager. Hopefully some of you can get it at least. Okay, good, most of you. Well, some of you. Some of you are unsure, but that's good. You're probably more sure than before this call started, so that's progress. Okay, so Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a good tool. You guys should get this set up eventually, not in the first 16 weeks. It's a little more advanced. But honestly, you can go on Upwork or Fiverr, pay like $40 to someone in India, and they will build all this out for you, okay? If you find someone with really good reviews, they'll get it pretty close to being fully accurate. And it just gives you big picture data for your whole business. So you see here, users, revenue, conversion rate across the entire site. And then you can see how many people are on the site live. You see further down. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. Further down in the corner, we have traffic channel. It shows us country breakdown. It shows us, I gotta move these boxes, time of day. It's pretty cool to see what time of day the traffic's heavier, right? That might be, why would you wanna know time of day? Type in chat, why might that be useful? Anyone? Yeah, sending emails, right? Best time to send an email out. A lot of you guys say, Rudy, what's the best time to send an email? I say, I don't know. I don't know your business. I don't know your audience. I mean, I give you guys answers, generic ones, right? Like 6 p.m. But everyone's business is different. Now you guys know that. You go get this set up. Costs you $30 on Upwork. Someone will integrate this with ClickFunnels and stuff, and boom, you're set up, right? What else? And the cool thing too, as you see, it shows you active users right now, that blue box. It shows you what links they're on. You can see that for like the last 30 days. So you might see some of them are coming from like Instagram and Facebook and buy-in that you didn't even know, okay? And if you want to track email, remember I said email's hard to track. The easiest way to get it going is you get Google Analytics built out, and then every time you send an email, you have to use a UTM code. So if you've ever clicked a link and it has a bunch of random crap after it, it's because the marketer or the business is using the UTM code. So it's a bunch of code that comes after your link, and then it will report back into Google Analytics, okay? And that's more advanced, like after probably the 16 weeks. But yeah, I want you guys to start understanding how this all connects, okay? I wish I didn't learn this for years. I wish someone had taught me all this early on. Okay. And then this is more advanced. So remember stage 4 and 5. I'm not trying to teach that now, but this is like how you can start to see flows coming together, right? And this is like my team pull these reports, and you know, because I've trained them well enough, they start to show me like drop-offs, right? So here you can actually see people going to the page. You can see people that return several times. Remember I told you about the buyer's journey, one of the first lessons I gave you guys early on, if you were in that, how people come back and buy. This can actually show us first interaction, second interaction, people coming back and back again and again. You can also look at like the steps of the funnel, right? So sales page, cart page, upsell 1, upsell 2, upsell 3. You can see how many people drop off, okay? So there's a bunch of useful info, but this is more like stage 3 or 4, okay? This is our CRM. So we use Infusionsoft. You guys would eventually want something like this, active campaigns, Infusionsoft, hire someone part-time to build it out for you, $20 an hour, 5 hours a week. It will show you sales, revenue for periods of time, how many contacts. So like we can see, you see here, new contacts. So the last month we have 6,700 new emails, 26,000 on this list total. This shows us like how many appointments we have. This is revenue in this time period. I don't know what time period it's set to. Email open rate for our last email. Yeah. So you'll get basic CRM stats like that in active campaigns and stuff like that, okay? All right, well, I finished with 4 minutes to spare. So there's a little time for questions. If you guys got that first, just rewatch the first 20 minutes, like 3 times. Okay, so most of you do, good. Honestly, guys, the best way, this is what I made my team do to learn this, is I ask them questions like I ask you. Well, if we get 5 buyers and we spent $200, what is our conversion rate? Just do that in your head. Just keep going through it and doing maths, and it will click. One day it will click, because I saw it with my own team. They all clicked at a different time period. Some of them clicked right away. Some of them was like 30 days, but it will click, okay? So just keep doing it and it will click. All right, so questions just for the last few minutes. Can we analyze the data on Snapchat? I'm not sure. I mean, Snapchat, Instagram, like they show you like clicks and stuff, but they're not going to show any of the back end revenue, right? The biggest place you'll get all of this from is ClickFunnels or WordPress. Stripe might be good too. Like if you go into Stripe, for example, you're going to see total sales. Stripe actually sometimes has like AOV and stuff in there. It will show you how much you made per sale. So if you've ever gone into the Stripe dashboard, go in it again and go in the ClickFunnels stats after today and stuff might make more sense. What should be the percentage of people moving from sales page to checkout page? Good question. Probably 10 to 20%, right? So if you get 100 people on the sales page, you want 10 to 20% of them to go to the checkout page. See if any of you can get this. Last question for the day. Why do I say that? Okay, because what did I say was a good average for sales page conversion rate? Say I said it's 2%, okay? So if we get 100 people to the sales page, we have a checkout page in the middle, right? So 100 people go here, and then say 20 of them click through, okay? So 20% click through. That gives us now what? 20 people on the checkout page. And then if we have a 90% account abandonment rate, look what happens. We get 2 sales, 2% conversion rate. See how the maths all connect, okay? But now what? Say we only had an 80%. Say we got 20% of people on the checkout page, and we only had 80% abandoned, not 90. Now we get a 4% conversion rate, just like that, just because we fixed this checkout page. You see? But if the checkout page was a 90% abandonment rate, you'd only get 2 sales here, okay? So they all connect and you can start manipulating them, right? Do I need software to look at these metrics? I mean, Google Analytics is good. But ClickFunnels, most of the stats will come in ClickFunnels, right? And Facebook. You remember phase 3 or 4 is more like the dashboard side. Everyone here today can go and look at their Facebook ad manager. There's columns that say clicks, cost per click, ad spend. If you get those numbers and then you go in your Stripe and you look at revenue and how many orders, those 5 numbers, that's all you need. Clicks, cost per click, ad spend, revenue, and numbers. Those 5 numbers will give you everything you need. You can work out AOV because you have revenue and total buyers. Just divide them, okay? You can work out earnings per click because you have total clicks and you have revenue, okay? You have total clicks and you have buyers, you can work out conversion rate. So everything's in there, okay? All right, guys. Well, I think that's everything. I got most of the questions. I got to dash on to another call now, but I hope you enjoyed today. I know it's kind of, honestly, if you guys can master this, you're a million miles ahead of everyone else at your kind of entry level, you know? Most people doing $1 million still don't know this. So it might feel kind of tough and maybe a little confusing and not exciting, but when it clicks, it's really powerful. It's really empowering, okay? So try and study it, watch this back, start just looking at all your stats, and I guarantee you'll come on next week and you'll be like, getting it, okay? It'll make sense. And you can Google, I'm sure there's lots of trainings, like if you look how to calculate CPA, how to calculate AOV, how to calculate conversion rate, just put it in Google and there'll be a bunch of stuff that'll explain it if you forget one thing, okay? All right, well, have a great week. Keep up the good work, everyone.